It might be time to shut down our universities. This morning on NPR, the president of Brown University was talking about how big a role in the economies of the localities where these universities are located, how big a role that they play, how many people they employ, etc. Well, a heck of a lot of Americans are discovering that we can't afford to continue with higher education the way that it's been done. Yeah, it does have a really big financial impact on the local economies, and that means a huge debt load of students when they leave. So we can't continue the way that it's been done. Now, if we were to go to things like online courses, well, you can't have the cost of online courses continue to support these huge physical plants and all of that administrative staff. The online course has got to be inexpensive. That's what we're aiming for. Now, I would suggest that something that may be the biggest drag to keep things going just the way they've been going, make no change, are people who have graduated from college a long time ago and don't have a great big student debt. When Donna moved back east, somebody advised her that something that was quite different in the culture was that in the West, when you're at a cocktail party and you're getting acquainted with other people, the question that is asked is, what are your outdoor activities? Cross-country skiing, or maybe volleyball or racquetball, or hiking, a lot of hiking. But when you're back east at a cocktail party, what people want to know is, where did you go to school? Well, those people for whom it's quite important to know where did you go to school, and they're doing the hiring, their hiring criteria is, did you go to their school? Or if not, at least a school that they consider as good a school as yours. This whole notion of Ivy League schools being in a class apart and above all other universities, that's going to be the major dead weight pulling against a change to higher education. So what are the advantages of a young person going off to college instead of a bunch of online courses? Well, a big one is to get away from home. All right. A lot of us have kind of an instant reaction that, well, yeah, that's a good thing. Let's get away from home. But, can you articulate that? What are the advantages of getting away from home? Well, one that is to begin to manage your own finances. That if you go out drinking Friday night and blow a big part of your budget, well, in 2 weeks you're going to be eating nothing but saltines and a little bit of leftover peanut butter, and you probably aren't going to go out drinking on the next Friday night after doing that. So learning about supporting yourself financially, being financially self-sustaining. Another one is, as a young person, it's pretty easy to lose your way. A girlfriend or a boyfriend dumps you, or you get into a class that you thought was going to let you know where you belonged in life. For me, I was taking a lot of accounting, and the deeper I got into accounting, the more I realized these are not my people. God, I hated accounting. So it's easy to lose your way, or maybe, whatever faith you were raised in, you just don't buy it anymore in college and you've lost your way. Well, if you, having lost your way and you're licking your wounds and you're trying to recover yourself, you're trying to find your way, and you're doing it in your parents' basement or in the so anyway, you're being, I'll say, artificially sustained in that process, as opposed to finding your way and discovering that you have the inner strength and inner tools to pull yourself back to your feet and get going again. I don't know that you're going to find that in your parents' basement, or I don't know that you can find it in the chaos and the milieu of family life with their arguments and their rigid ways of doing things that, may be the whole reason why you got a problem right now. So there's some value. Now, another one is the whole thing about going off to college is that you make these important professional contacts. Well, I think maybe the people back east at Ivy League schools, that's important for them, but I don't remember anybody. Donna has had friends for what now, probably 40 years, but they were friends of hers at a sorority. So, if you're going to live with a bunch of other people for a year or two, yeah, you'll probably maintain or develop a friendship that you will maintain for decades. But if you don't, you work and live off campus and you just got your head down working, I don't know about all those professional contacts, just how important they are, unless you go to an Ivy League school. And then, yeah, they probably are important. So I don't know how much importance there is in social contacts. And I don't know how much importance there is in having an on-campus experience. I do think it's important to have an out-of-home experience. Now, I got a pal that has started a university that specifically caters to homeschooled kids who now need to get a higher degree. It'd be very interesting to know what is the value that they're getting from being away from home after being homeschooled all those years. What are they getting? And maybe he would give us some answers as to how he's able to provide higher education that is not this huge debt burden that everybody else is experiencing. So I would love to hear from you about, how did you make it? How valuable was it to get away from home and go to college? Or did you go to college while staying at home, and what was the value of that? I'll share a little story. I just love to ask immigrants, what would you bring from your home culture here that would benefit us, and what would you take from our culture home that would benefit them? And this young woman from Puerto Rico who had landed some very important job at Citibank in Chicago was telling me that when it was time for her to leave home and go to university at Boston University, her family gathered around her and said, "Now, honey, if there's anything you need, you have a cousin right there in Boston. He can be with you in 30 minutes. You have a brother in New York City. He can be with you in a couple of hours. And if need be, we can come there, or you can come home in 4 or 5 hours. We can, you are completely taken care of. Go to Boston from Puerto Rico, darling. We're with you." So she gets to Boston University, and here comes her roommate, an Anglo gal, and her parents. And the parents help her move in. They get her computer and her stereo system and microwave all set up and make her bed and hang up her clothes. And then her dad peels off some money and he says, "Now, this is your budget for the month. There'll be this amount of money again next month, but there won't be any other money. So don't call home asking for more money. If you need more money, get a job." And don't call home every time you have a complaint. Please call home. We want to hear about your successes. We want to hear about how much fun you're having, etc. But if you got a problem or a complaint, you're here to figure out how to solve it yourself. And they left. And the Puerto Rican gal tells me, the folks in Puerto Rico could really use that kind of self-sufficiency. But boy, could Americans use the Puerto Rican family support like I enjoyed. Now, isn't that an interesting paradox? How to work out that kind of balance. So there's one young woman's experience of going off to college. What is yours?